Gamerjoba guys, Gamerjoba, Georgia. I am in the center of Tbilisi. Behind me is the famous symbol of the city, the glass bridge of peace, which connects the old and new areas of the city. According to the idea of the Italian architect Luca, the Bridge of Peace symbolizes the connection between the valiant past of Georgia and its bright future. Now let's go back in time and see how I ended up in the capital of Georgia, Tbilisi. From Moscow, we took an express train to the city of Vladikavkaz, Republic of North Ossetia. On the square next to the train station, we took a shuttle bus that takes tourists across the border into Georgia. On the way to the village of Verkhny Lars, where the border crossing to Georgia is located, a huge 10-kilometer traffic jam was waiting for us. According to the forecast, it would have taken us at least 24 hours to get through the border. But for our minibus driver, who successfully managed to bypass almost the entire queue using the oncoming lane, the side of the road, and mountain trails, it was especially interesting to watch him cut in and overtake other cars, apologizing to the other drivers. He did it so well that they couldn't even be mad at him and let us go ahead. I wish I had been ashamed to film those moments. Now I regret it very much, because our driver was a very interesting man and the time on the road flew by almost imperceptibly. In the end, after losing about 6 hours at the border, we raced along the Georgian military road in the direction of Tbilisi. I should say that a year earlier, I had already driven on the Georgian military road in my own car when I traveled in Georgia for the first time. Back then, I was simply amazed by the beauty of this road, and I stopped every 10-15 minutes to take pictures, because literally around every corner, more and more stunning views were opening up. But this time, we were going too early. It was May, and the nature had not yet had a chance to wake up. There is still snow on the mountain passes, hiding green alpine meadows, and the whole sky is covered with gray clouds. Now let's use the magic of montage again and take a trip to the capital of Georgia, Tbilisi. Tbilisi is the capital and at the same time, the largest city of Georgia, located on the bank of the Kura River in the Tbilisi Hollow. Tbilisi is a bustling, cheerful, tradition-bound, and at the same time actively developing city with a population of 1.5 million people. This is what the modern capital of Georgia looks like in the eyes of travelers. Tbilisi is especially attractive because of its rich history, which is rooted in the depth of centuries. You can endlessly wander through the neighborhoods of the old part of town, breathing in the exciting aromas of national pastries and admiring the ancient architecture of these buildings. In its more than 1,500 years of existence, Tbilisi has amassed so many historical sites and cultural heritage that there is more than enough room for several regular cities. The Kura River is not only a geographic object, but also a water border which divides Tbilisi into two parts. The city is officially divided into districts. Some of them are rich in a variety of architectural monuments. It's not a popular tourist destination, and some are typical residential neighborhoods. Record-breaking number of attractions is the Old Town, which is also the historic center of the capital. Reich Park in downtown Tbilisi is the youngest and most creative park in the city. Built in 2010 on the bank of the Kura River for the Independence Day of Georgia, it immediately became popular with citizens and tourists. The park surprises with its unique architecture, contrasting strongly with the usual appearance of old urban buildings. Today, the National Park in Tbilisi is the cultural center of the city and one of its new symbols. On the bank of the river Kura in the center of the city, there is the temple Sioni. Historically, it is the main temple of Tbilisi and one of the two main temples in the Georgian church, named after Mount Zion and consecrated in honor of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Prior to the construction of the Cathedral of the Holy Trinity, here was the seat of the Georgian Catholicos. Rustaveli Avenue is the central avenue of Tbilisi, named after medieval Georgian poet Shota Rustaveli. Its total length from Freedom Square to Rustaveli Square is about 1.5 kilometers. Avenue is a cultural artery of Tbilisi, as Nevsky Prospect for St. Petersburg. Visiting the avenue, you can feel the spirit of the city and the mentality of the citizens. Each building and sculpture are like an exposition in a museum, which tells about the history, culture, and art of Georgia. On the avenue, there are a large number of government, public, cultural, and commercial buildings, such as Liberty Square, the Old Parliament Building, the Academy of Sciences, Museum of Modern Art, the Georgian Opera and Ballet Theater, the Shota Rustaveli Theater, the National Gallery, and the National Museum of Georgia, Tbilisi Russian Drama Theater, Vorontsov Palace, Kashvedi Church, and others. Walking along Rustaveli Avenue, I accidentally came across a bohemian party and watched a free Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week's fashion show, which turned out to be the main fashion event in Russia and Eastern Europe. The Park Reich or Narikala aerial tramway is one of the 3 aerial tramways in Tbilisi. The lower platform of the ropeway is located in the Reich Park at the entrance from Europe Square, and the upper platform is on Solalak Hill near the Narikala fortress. The ropeway was built in 2012 and is very popular among tourists. Climbing in the cable car, you can see Tbilisi from a bird's eye view. From the glass carriage, one can get an excellent panorama of the old part of town. At the top station is an observation deck where you can see that the area of Reich Park, repeating the shape of Georgia itself on the map. From the observation deck, there is a path to the ancient Narikala fortress and the 20-meter statue of Mother Kartli, or Mother Georgia. This grandiose monument is considered one of the main symbols of Tbilisi. After a hearty lunch at a Khinkali house in the center of Tbilisi on Shota Rustaveli Street, I climbed a hill in the old city overlooking the Kura River to admire the medieval Narikala fortress. The ruins of the ancient citadel are one of the main attractions of the Georgian capital, part of the architectural ensemble of Old Tiflis. Narikala Fortress proudly towers over the city and is an ancient monument of the history of the region. There is no exact data on the date of construction of the fortress, but the first references in chronicles are dated to the end of the I-Voice century. During its existence, the citadel has changed several names, the first of which was Shuris, Chika, which in Arabic means enviable fortress. From the moment of its construction until today, the walls of Narikala Fortress impress with their impregnability and grandeur. After walking around Tbilisi to my heart's content and getting tired of filming, I decided to spend the evening in the famous sulfur baths in Georgia to rest and replenish my energy. In addition to that, the sulfur baths are one of the most popular attractions in Tbilisi. Abanotubani is a historic district in the center of Tbilisi, famous for its complex of bathhouses standing on natural sulfur springs. Built at different times, today's bathhouses form a separate quarter of the city, which is a popular place among city residents and many tourists. The sulfur baths of Abanotubani are located in the historic center of the Georgian capital, on the very spot where the legendary King Gorgasal founded the city 1,500 years ago. Underground springs feed the pools of the thermal baths. The ancient complex of baths at the foot of the ancient fortress of Narikala attracts many tourists, and locals have been going to the sulfurous steam rooms since ancient times to meet with friends at the pools, discuss the news, and just relax at the end of the day. The classical Georgian baths are reminiscent of the ancient Roman thermae by their layout of the interior and spirit. They are used not only for bathing, but also for intimate conversations with close friends. In the spacious vaulted halls decorated with mosaics, there are hot and cold pools, steam rooms, and relaxation rooms serving snacks and drinks. In the traditions of the national bathing culture, there are indispensable procedures: wellness massage, rubbing the body with a stiff woolen glove, contrast shower. Well friends, while I'm enjoying the sulfur springs, subscribe to the channel, like and share this video with your friends. If you want, you can help me by donating to shoot new episodes. All the links are in the description of the video. See you soon.